question number 4. That's another one of these baseline questions, basically covering about the same everything that I have been talking about during our session today. The one thing that is asked here that I didn't give to you explicitly was the observation equation. And if you look in Ruger or in Blackhout and the others in the urban surveying and mapping, there's a mention of you take a linear array and have, say, an x-coordinate of each point along the array, then any point-to-point distance is equal to the difference between the x-coordinates. So you can put together the observation equation relating the observation, which is the distance, and the unknowns, which are the correction to the distance, the additive constant, and the coordinate values. Question number 5. This shouldn't be particularly exotic. It's something that you would probably encounter in any instance where you're using a total station to do reasonably precision trigonometric height traversing. And basically it's setting up the equations and doing the propagation through them.
James?
Yes.
I do have a candidate saying that if Ruger does not specifically answer this, can we go through it? Question 4, March 2011.
Maybe given what I've explained today, I would like those of you who are concerned about this question to think a bit more about it. Once we have Ruger available, then we can always come back to these questions again. We have 2 more sessions. And the wrap-up session, the 4th session, will probably allow us to go through almost anything. Is there anything about question 5 that I have up right now that's a concern? It was expecting you to look at a profile view of the situation where you have a right triangle created by the elevation angle or the zenith angle, depending on which way you can look at it. The opposite side, which is the height difference between the center of the instrument and the center of the reflector, and then the height of instrument and height of reflector would bring you down to the 2 round marks, and therefore allow you to calculate the mark-to-mark distance or the height difference, depending on what you're doing with the question. Now, question 6 is basically dealing with the effects of centering, leveling, pointing, and reading under the situation where there is a steeply inclined site, and it's being placed in the context of doing a site on Polaris with a latitude of 55, which means the elevation angle is 55, which is fairly heavily inclined. And the effects of centering, leveling, pointing, and reading are discussed in Blackhout, Urban Surveying and Mapping. So rather than going through the actual solution for this, I would prefer that you try to do it, and then we can come back to any of the questions on this exam or other exams, particularly during the last session. But I suspect we'll have some time during the 3rd session as well to deal with questions. This first question will be again discussed during our session next Saturday. And the second question is more related to underground surveying, which is the session 4, so we'll discuss that, things related to it then. Question 3 we've discussed, 4 we've discussed, 5 and 6 I've given you some suggestions, and we could come back to these again, I guess next Saturday, if not then on the 4th session.
James, unless you have anything else to say, I think we'll close the session. You're good?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. Thanks again, and have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you very much. Goodbye.